Previously we learned about a few things that was done in the Beis Hamikdash that we said that was great, like the menorah and the tablet and the pulley system that we had to pull up the kiyar. So the following people are shamed. Shal Beis Garmu, the people from the house of Beis Garmu. Why? What did they do wrong? They do not want to teach how to make the lechem aponim. Shal Beis Avtinas, those in the house of Avtinas. What did they do wrong? They do not want to teach how to make the Ketores. Hugrus ben Levi, Hayudea Parak Bashir. Hugrus ben Levi, we'll see soon in the Gemara, had a special way of singing, of making some sounds that were very nice. We'll see. And he didn't want to teach anybody how to make those sounds. Ben Kamtzar did not want to teach what? Al Maisa Ksav, on how to write. He had a special way of writing. We'll see the Gemara, and he did not want to teach how to do that. On the previous people, it says Zechus tzaddik uvracha. When you mention a tzaddik, you should mention him uvracha. And on these people that did not want to teach their traits, their expertise, it says V'shem Risham Yerkov, the name of Risham shall rot. Beis Garmu, what did Beis Garmu do? They were the ones in charge of making lechem aponim. They knew how to make lechem aponim. Lechem aponim was a little hard to make. It was very hard to make because it was made in a box in an interesting shape and it was hard to take out. So they had the expertise in how to make it. They didn't want to teach anybody else how to do it. So the Chaim sent people to bring expert bakers from Mitzrayim, from Alexandria, to teach them how to make this bread without breaking it. So they were able to bake it the same way. However, they couldn't take it out of the box without breaking it. Why? Because they baked it only on the outside, and they would bake it, they would heat it up on the outside and bake it on the outside. However, the Beis Garmu would heat it up inside and bake it inside. So what happened? The experts from Alexandria, their bread would rot, would get moldy. But the experts of the Beis Garmu, they would make it and nothing would happen, nothing went bad with it, the bread would stay fresh. When the Chaim heard and they realized that they couldn't copy Beis Garmu, so Amru Kol Masha Bara Kadosh Baruch Hu. When a Kadosh Baruch Hu gives somebody an expertise, he has a special talent. So Hashem makes that for his own kavod. Shenemer kol nikar v'shvim l'chvaydi barasav. Whatever I make, whatever is called in my name, l'chvaydi barasav, I make everything for HaKadosh Baruch Hu's kavod. V'chazer Beis Garmu l'kaiman. So they reinstated Beis Garmu to make the lechem aponim. Shachol lahem chacham v'leibol. So the Chacham called them to reinstate them to do their job. V'leibol, they didn't come. So kafel and scharim. So they doubled their pay. Ubal, and then they came. Till now they took 12 mana every day, and from now on they took 24. Till now they took 24 mana every day, and from then on they took 48. Okay, so the Chacham said, I don't understand, why are you keeping this talent to yourself? Why don't you share with anybody? We have a Mesorah from our father's house. One day this house will get destroyed. And somebody that's not proper, that's not righteous, will learn how to do these things. And they're going to use it in the house of Avodah Zarah. And for this, they mentioned the name L'Shvach, not L'Gnai, like we said before. They were just the opposite, because they had good intentions. And the Gemara said another thing, they were righteous, and they made sure that nobody should accuse them of taking any of the flour for themselves. So therefore, yes, but that's the way Gemara works. We have many Gemaras over there. Okay, we never found clean white bread in their hands of the children. Why were they makbid? They only had the coarse bed that was not used for the lachem apanim. Why? So nobody should be able to accuse them that they stole from the lachem apanim, even though it's not true. The Chaim because they wanted to do what the pasuk says. You have to be righteous. You have to be clean in front of Hashem and from Klal Yisrael. It means you're not allowed to do something that somebody else can think that you're doing the wrong thing. Even though you're doing the right thing, you should still. It should look like you're doing the right thing.
This pasuk is from Moshe Rabbeinu, and he said to the Shvatim.
Yeah.
Menachem.
He didn't take. Yeah.
So they're using this pasuk.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, Zok to Gemara. So Beis Aftinas. Yes, Beis Aftinas le'ratzu l'lamed al ma'asek Torahs. So Beis Garmu didn't want to teach how to make lachem apanim, and Beis Aftinas, they were the experts of the Torahs, and they didn't want to teach anybody how to make the Torahs. Tanrabanim, Beis Aftinas, so you became ma'asek Torahs. Beis Aftinas were experts in making the Torahs. Le'ratzu l'lamed, they did not want to teach anybody how to make it. Sholchu chachamim b'viin umdum Alexandria shel Mitzrayim. So the Chachamim tried to outsource and bring experts from Alexandria of Egypt and try to learn how to do. Maybe they know how to do it. They were able to mix it or to make it the same way, but however, they couldn't get the smoke to go straight up. Because from the base of Tinas, they were able to make the smoke go up straight up like a stick. However, the experts from Alexandria, when they put up the smoke, it spread. It didn't go straight up. Whatever Hashem made, He made for His covet. So when somebody has an expertise, Hashem made it for His covet. So there's nothing wrong. So they reinstated Beis Aftinas to their position. However, the Chacham sent them to come, and they didn't come. So they double their pay. Ubo, and then they came. Till now they took 12 mon every day. Now they double their pay to 24. Till now they took 24. Now they took 48. So the Chacham asked them, why are you not teaching anybody your way of making the Ketores? Amru Yedin Hayshal Bas Abba, we have Masera from our father's house. This house eventually will get destroyed. Amru Shema Yilamed Adam Sheinim Hukum Yelach Yavad Betzachavim. Maybe somebody that's not straight, somebody that's not righteous, will learn how to do it, and he's going to use these things for Avodas Kachavim, for Avodas Zarah. So then they changed and they mentioned them l'shvach, because obviously that good intentions, not bad intentions, for the reason why they did not teach it to anybody. A kala never went out of their house smelling perfumed. And not only that, when they married a woman from a different city, from a different family, one of the shidduch tanaim were that she's not allowed to wear perfume. Why? Because nobody should accuse them, should be able to accuse them that they're getting perfume from the Ketores. The Chaim Hashem, Yossi became Hashem Yisrael. They have to be clean to Hashem and even Klal Yisrael. Okay, Tanya, Amar Rabbi Shmuel, I was once walking on the way, and I met one of the grandchildren of Beis Aftinas of the Ketores. Your fathers, the reason why they did not want to share the talent with anybody is because they wanted to make their honor great. However, by doing that, you diminish the covet of Hashem. Now that the Beis Hamikdash is destroyed, the covet of Hashem is in its place. But however, your honor is diminished. Why? Because you didn't have the position anymore. Now I saw that the question is, why is the covet of Hashem in its place? Just the opposite. The covet of Hashem is also diminished. If there's no Shechina, there's no Beis Hamikdash, so the covet of Hashem is diminished. So I saw they say that. That the nations of the world said no, that we see that Hashem is so righteous that even if his own children do Averis, he didn't overlook it and he punished them also. So you see the righteousness of Hashem. So from the Churban Abayis, there's a covet that came out for Hashem also.
So isn't this cholek on what came before?
What's that?
Isn't it being cholek on the Dan's Chafskut? You said before that it's l'shevach. Now he meets up when he says it's not the Shavach.
Right. So his outlook was he told him, why wouldn't you share it with anybody? So there's two outlooks. We'll see at the end of the Gemara. The Gemara says that at the end of the day they had good intentions, but it seems that it was unclear what their intentions were. So originally we thought their intentions were for bad. So therefore we said that they should be cursed. Yaakov, they should be rotten. However, later on we'll see they prove that their intentions are really good.
He says,
Right, so he seemed to assume that their intentions were bad.
Later on.
This is later on. This is actually earlier on, because the Mishnah, we'll see. This is later on.
Is that later?
No, Rabbi put together the Mishnah later, after the Churban. No, I think so.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
the story though.
The story could be it was before.
The story in the Mishnah is very early, because it's before the Churban.
Yeah, but we still didn't know their intentions. So Rabbi assumed that the intentions were bad. Could be this story was beforehand, where they still assumed their intentions were bad. We'll see at the end. We see that their intentions were good. But the Mishnah still says that intentions were bad. Anyway,
they didn't believe them, right?
Amar Rabbi Akiva, no, they believed them. But okay, Amar Rabbi Akiva, Sachli Rabbi Shmuel, Pam Achas Sachli Rabbi Shmuel ben Luga, Pam Achas Yatzasi Ani ve'Echel b'nei b'neihem l'sada. I once went out with the grandchildren of Beis Avtinas to a field, Lulka Tasavim, to collect some herbs, grass. V'ri'isi shesachak u'bacha, and I saw that he was crying and laughing and crying. Amartlim, why are you crying? Amar li kavod avos in his character. I remember the honor of my father's house. So why are you laughing? Why are you happy? Because we have a munah that Hashem is going to return it to us one day when He builds the third base of English. And what made you remind you of this? I see the herb, the thing that's used to make the smoke go straight up. So he told him, Raizel, show it to me. Where you have a swear, we have swear in our household not to show it to anybody. So he didn't want to show it to him. So Rabbi Menuri has the opposite story. He says, once I met an old man, and he had a Megillah with the pictures of all the different herbs, the things that were used in the Ketores. The plants. He said, I'm from the house of Tinas. What do you have in your hand? I have a Megillah of all the Samanim, exactly what was used in the Ketores. He said, show it to me. He told me, "Calls Masha Beis Abba Yimakayin." As long as the Beis Abba was Mekayim, the Beis Mikdash was here. We didn't give it to anybody. Here you can have it. The Zarba, we should watch out, make sure that nobody else gets it. When I told this to Rabbi Akiva, so you see, as long as the Beis Mikdash was around, so they needed to keep the secret. But eventually there was no point, so they gave it over. So we see that there's we shouldn't talk bad about them. They didn't have bad intentions. So they're not Shem or Yaakov, just the opposite. So now we see like this. What happened was like this. Beis Avtinas Beis Garmu originally had a position, and that they kept the secrets of the trade to themselves. They didn't want to share it with anybody. Eventually, the Chachamim wanted to take it away from them and spread it out, but it didn't help. It didn't work. And they got back their position. They got back their parnasa. It was a source of livelihood to them. Not only did they get it back, they got even more money at the end. Right? So the Gemara says like this. The Gemara says if a person thinks that he has competition and it's going to take away from his parnasa, it's not so. Amar benazeh b'shimcha yikruucha. In your name I shall call you. B'mkemcha yeshivucha. And in your place you shall sit. That means when a person is always scared that somebody's going to dethrone him, somebody's going to take him out of his position, somebody's going to call him a wrong name, he won't be the same person, the same rich person, he should know that's not true. And whatever's yours shall be yours. Nobody can take away what Hashem gives you. Hashem gives the person, right? It's written how much parnasa will get in the beginning of the year, and that's what he'll get. It doesn't make a difference what it looks like. It doesn't make a difference what other people are trying to do. A person cannot touch whatever is yours. And also another thing is that a king cannot, a kingdom cannot take away from its other king, like David and Shaul. Any kingdom cannot take away even a hair's breadth. So whenever it's written that this kingdom shall fall down, that's going to fall down, and the next one will start. Even though a lot of times it doesn't look that way, but that's exactly the way it is.
So why would they give up the secrets later on when there was Urias Ataros and there's more chance it would be used for a Avodah Zarah?
I don't know.
How they such righteous people, they demanded twice their wages.
They didn't demand it. They said Chaim offered them.
They offered, but they wouldn't come.
So why shouldn't they demand? If they're needed,
they're giving you $1 million. You know,
they weren't appreciated. They weren't appreciated.
I thought it went strike. Cost got more.
Okay, it didn't say that there was a shortage of money in the Beis Hamikdash and they couldn't afford for them to do the Ketores. Obviously, their expertise was worth money. They had allowed to take money. Okay,
teach them a lesson.
Hugers ben Levi was able to make special sounds, very sweet sounds. What did he do? Tanya kushu noisen koyle ben ima, when he raised his voice with sweetness, machnes goydel techbiv, he would stick his thumb into his mouth, umeniach boy ben animen, and he put his finger by his mustache. Achayu achav akanim his karm bas roish lacharei, until they would, from the sound, they would move back their heads, and they were so. I don't know, affected by it. Whatever, it was such a beautiful sound, they were moved. Ben Kamtzer did not want to teach how to write. Amrolov, what did he do? He had 4 feathers between his fingers. And if he had a Shem Hashem Shadal Daisius Yudke Vavke, he was able to write it in one shot, and that would be good for Lishma or for different reasons. So they asked him, why don't you teach anybody how to write it? So the Gemara says, everybody else at the end of the day we see they had a good reason why they didn't want to teach the competition, why they didn't want to teach anybody how to do it. However, Ben Kamtzer did not have a reason why he didn't want to teach it. So we change. On the first people that we mentioned for bad, we change. We say the truth is that they were tzaddikim and Zechus tzaddik uvracha. However, on Ben Kamtzer and his friends, we say Yishem Risham Yerkov, the name of Rishayim shall rat. My Vishem Risham Yerkov. What does it mean that they should rat? Amar Blazer Kvivos Tala B'Shmeisen. A rust should go on to their name. What does that mean that it gets rusty? The Lei Maskinan B'Shmayu, that we don't name our children after them, so their name eventually gets forgotten. Okay, so now the Gemara is going to ask a question: is that so? Then we have a Russia, like in Israel now, it's very popular to name Nimrodi. So you're not supposed to name such a name because it's a name of a Russia. So the Gemara says, is this so that you're not allowed to name your child after Russia? We see not like that. Masar Avina Ma'aseh b'Doeg ben Yosef. We see there was somebody, a child, his name was Doeg ben Yosef. Doeg was a Russia. And yet, the Yosef, whatever his father gave him the name, Doeg. Shenicha Av ben Katan. His father left him when he was a small child, Imai. Every single morning, his mother would see if he grew any. And whatever he grew, so whatever he grew, she would give that amount to the Beis Hamikdash, so that's a beautiful thing. So we see that even though his name is Daig, but it seems like he was a good kid. However, at the end of the Beis Hamikdash, before the Churban, when the enemy got stronger and they surrounded Yerushalayim and there was no food there was terrible starvation, so what did his mother do? His mother shechted him and ate him. On him, Yirmiyah lamented, if women will eat the fruits, the children that they care for. And we see after it said that because you killed Zechariah, which was a Kain and Navi. So anyway, the fact is that we see that you name children Daig, even though he was a Russia, we still name him, and it says Shem Risham Yerkov, you're not supposed to name your children afterwards. So the Gemara says, Chazim Maisalag. Look what happened. They named the children Daig, they named the child Daig, and that's what happened. It didn't end up with a good ending. I saw the Bini Yoda says that it's not that if you name a child that he's going to be bad. So like, what did the child do wrong? He didn't do anything wrong. You named him Nimrod, so now he doesn't have a chance in life. He's going to definitely be bad. How does that work? It's not his fault that his father made named him like that. So he says that the Raizel says that when a child comes down to this earth and the parents name him, there's a Ruach HaKodesh, there's a Neviah, so that why they pick that name. So that's what they mean. That's what the Gemara means. It's not that the name that caused them to do the bad things. He was bad, and the bad names is when the parent names a child bad. It's because that's his source. That's who he is. He's a bad child. So we should daven. I guess it's not just the actual act of naming. It's the whole parish of having a bad child, naming him bad.
What did the child do bad?
Again, A child. Some people they
I
have.
was saying the child didn't do anything bad. You said
The child didn't, but the reason
was
why.
done to him. It's bad luck. Bad
No,
luck.
so it's not done to him. The reason why the parent named him that was because of the Ruach HaKodesh of that's who he is. So you named him a name of a Rasha because that's who he is, or you name him a name of a tzaddik because that's who he is. So so it's not a kid. Everybody has a chance in this world, but Vaisles he was a Rasha. But I guess what a person should have named him, he should daven that he shouldn't have such a child.
I understand that, but what I'm asking is, how is this proof that this child was a Russia?
It's not proof that the child is a Rasha. The fact is the child is a Rasha. That's why he gets such a name. It's not the act of the father naming him that. Okay, you see, everybody has a name. You see, names really define a person. Like Bob defines a certain type of person. So, okay. So the Gemara says like this: Amar Rebbe Lazar, Tzadik me'atzmai, v'rasha michaver. So we do like this. When we say Zecher Tzadik Levracha, we say it in the singular. Zecher Tzadik Levracha. We have a Tzadik, you should mention him Levracha. However, when you say Shem Rishayim Yerkov, it's plural. V'Shem Rishayim, the name of Rishayim, shall rat. So Rishayim is everybody together. So we say like this: when you give credit to the tzaddik me'atzmai. When you give credit to the tzaddik, we give him to himself. V'rasha mechaber. However, Rasha is because of his influence of his friends. Tzaddik me'atzmai d'chsev zecha tzaddik avracha. V'rasha mechaber d'chsev v'shem risham yirkov. In the name of Rishayim Shalrat, it says plural. Amalei Ravina lahum rabbanan. Amalei Ravina lahum rabbanan. Dahav masada agadosa kamei. Ravina told one of the Rabbanon that was Masada Agada in front of him. Minoha Milsa Amar Rabbanon Zechat Tzadik Avracha. How do you know that you should mention a Tzadik Avracha? Amalei Daksiv Zechat Tzadik Avracha. It says in the Pasuk Mishlei Zechat Tzadik Avracha. So he says, no, I mean Midaraisim Nolan. How do you know from the Torah? So he said, Chsiv Hashem Amar Hamchasanim Avram. By Hashem was talking to Avram. He says, I not tell Avram. Actually, knows what I'm going to do with Sedaim. V'Chsiv Avram Hoyu Yil Gagadol Atzum V'Atzum. And right after this, it says a bracha to Avram that he's going to be a big, strong nation. So then he asked me, how do I know Shem Risham Yirkov? It says in the rest of the pasuk of Mishlei, V'Shem Risham Yirkov. What do you mean to ask? She says, no, Midaraisim Inolan. How do I know this? How do I know from the Torah that when you mention a Rasha, it should be for bad, for Yisharat? So we say, it says by Leiti V'Yel Atzadaim. And then right afterwards it says right afterwards it mentions that the people of Sodom were terrible and big sinners. Amar Rabbi Tzaddik Dar ben Shnei Rishayim. There was a tzaddik that lived between two Rishayim and did not learn from their ways. And there was a Rasha, Dar ben Shnei Tzaddikim. There was a Rasha that lived between two tzaddikim and did not learn from their ways. Tzaddik Dar ben Shnei Rishayim. There was a tzaddik that lived between two Rishayim and didn't learn from their ways. That was a Vadya that he lived between Zevel and Yaakov. Rasha Dar ben Shnei Tzaddikim. A Rasha lived between two tzaddikim. Zeu Esav. That's Esav that lived between Yitzchak and Rivke and still didn't learn from their ways. Rabbi Lazar, Amar Rabbi Lazar, from the bracha of a tzaddik, you learn the opposite to the curse of the Rasha. And from a curse of Rasha, you learn the opposite of that, and that atalamid brachas tzaddikim, you learn a bracha of tzaddikim. From bracha of tzaddikim atalamid kol Rishayim, you learn the curse of Rishayim. It says by Avram that he commands his children to go in the ways of Hashem. I hear the cries of Amira, and I'll destroy them. Kiraba. From the curse of Rishayim, and from the curse of Rishayim, you learn the opposite. You learn a bracha of tzaddikim. It says Anshis were terrible sinners to Hashem. And then after it says Vashem Omer Alavram Achir Parad Leit Mimai, it says that I can give you the whole land, the whole promise that Hashem promises him. Amar Rabbi Lazar, Afilu b'shvil tzaddikim echad, tzaddik echad, olam nivra. So Rabbi Lazar says it's worth it just for one tzaddik for this world to be created, to create. So we say, how do we know that? Shanemar v'yar l'kim as arkitov. It says when Hashem created the light, it says v'yar l'kim Hashem saw as arkitov the ar that it's light. The ain't tov. So and what's that? The ain't tov el tzaddik tov means a tzaddik. How do I know? Shanemar imru tzaddik hitov. Let's say a tzaddik hitov. So a tzaddik is good. So that means that the definition of tov is a tzaddik. Amar Rabbi Lazar kol meshakeach davar mitalmudai. Anybody that forgets his learning, Goyrim Golos Lovanov, will will
Purposely,
cause.
purposely.
So it means like this. One second. It means anybody that forgets learning, Goyrim Golos Labanov, will cause exile to his children. If you forget the Torah, if you forget the Torah, then you'll forget your children. So now the thing is like this. A person has to realize that there's something natural in this world that's called forgetting. Most people forget what they learned. They forget a lot of things. They forget what they learn. Now, there's certain tools that we have that we can help that we can make that we shouldn't forget. And that's called chazering. If you chazer, you learn again and again, so you won't forget. So if a person doesn't use those tools, then he'll lose then his children will go into exile. Okay, Rabbi Amar Maridin Eisem Migdulasei. Rabbi says if he was a great man, he gets lowered from his greatness. Shenemar ki ata hadato me'as ki ata ki it says ki ata hadas ma'asta. So he says, you were like you discussed that you didn't look at the das, so therefore therefore you won't be a kain, you won't serve me. You also be lowered from serving me. So if you don't keep your Torah, you'll be yorad, you'll get lowered from your Gedalia, from the position, the high position. A tzaddik is not nifter from this world. A tzaddik doesn't move on to the next world until another tzaddik is already born in this world. Shenemar, the Zar Hashem Shabbat it says that the sun set, yet the sun rose. Actually, kafza shimshei shel Eli zarcha shimshei shel Shmuel. Before Eli was nifter, already Shmuel Haramasi was there. So before Hashem made sure that that even when a tzaddik was nifter, another tzaddik was ready to take his place. Amar Rabbi Amar Yaakov Baruch Hu shetzadikim mo'atan. Hashem saw that tzaddikim will be few. Amad v'shaslam v'chol davidaris, so he spread them out between all the generations. So Nemar ki Hashem etzukei aretz, for Hashem is the pillars of the earth. V'yashas aleim tevel, and he spread them out throughout the world. Even because of one tzaddik does the world stand. A tzaddik is the foundation of this world. Rivke says, no, we learn from different pasuk. It says, Ragle Chasidav Yishmar. The legs of Chasidav, of his tzaddikim, of his Chasidim, Yishmar. So now the thing is like this. It says Chasidav, it says in the plural. So we see that there's many tzaddikim. You said before that there's only a few tzaddikim. And now we see that there's plenty. So the Gemara says, Yishmar Chasidav Tuva. We see that there's plenty, mashma. So Amar Menachem BAYT Chasidoi Ksiv. It says Chasidoi. We read Chasidav. So you're right, there's more than one. But there's not plenty, there's only a few. Where if a person goes through most of his life and he doesn't sin, he has a guarantee that he won't do averis afterwards. How do we know this? It says in the pasuk, it says Ragle Chasidav. It says the legs. Now the legs is a minimum of 3 legs. So if this Ragle Chasidav is 2 out of the 3.
I don't think it means Ragle leg. It means the way. The way.
It could be means the way, but we darshan the Ragle, the legs, the foundation of a person. No, so he says that Shenema Ragle Chasidov, if you have most, if a person goes through most of his years, Ragle Chasidov Yishmar, then he'll be watched. That he won't do, even let's say the last leg, the third leg, he won't do any averis. If a person had the opportunity to do averis once or twice, then the third time, which is the third leg, he won't be chayta. Shenema ragle chasidav yishmar. If he has ragle, if he has 2 already, then the third leg yishmar will be watched. He won't be chayta. Amar Shlakish, you had a question?
When you were saying Raglav is 3.
So a table stands with a minimum of 3 legs. So but we're saying that if he has Raglav already, that means if he has Ragle more than one, he has 2 out of the 3 already established for good. Let's say he doesn't do an Avera for either throughout the years or his opportunities. The Gemara says 2 out of the 3 times he had opportunity, so then he won't, the third one he won't come by, he won't be chayta.
Maybe they mean puff.
What?
Puff.
What do you mean puff?
Puff.
Path. That's what he said. Maybe it means a path.
way.
But a person walks on a path, but it's raglei is his legs go on a path.
Darko.
Darka is that a person is raglei walks on a path. He uses his feet for a path.
I said the way, the way is conducted.
Yeah, but the way is conducted through your legs. That's true. The way is conducted. You go through the way with your legs. So that's what it means. Raglei, we're going on those legs. Okay, it's the path of life that has already 2 legs out of the 3. Yeah. Okay. So, Amar Shlakish Maidich Siv. If he's a late, if he does Averis, then Hashem will help him that he'll have more. And for the humble person, he'll have Chain. Hashem will help him in that way that he'll do mitzvahs. So we say, if somebody wants to do Tumah, then we open up the way for him to do it. I say, however, if he wants to do something that's tar, he wants to be matar himself in Messiah, I say, then Hashem will help him. So we see that by Tumah, there's only opening the way. He does it himself. However, by being matar, not only is there the opportunity, but there's help for that also. So why is that so? There's a person that sold neft that smells terrible, vafarsiman, smells good, some good smelling balsam or whatever it is. Bal limdoid neft. When somebody comes into the store and says, I want to buy some neft, so what does the owner tell him? Go measure it yourself, because he doesn't want to smell it. So just measure yourself. So that's like a person does not vary. You want the opportunity, you can have the opportunity, but I don't want to be part of it. If he wants to measure farsman, it smells good. He says, oh wait, I'll help you. Why? I also want to smell good like you. So when a person wants to do taharis, so Hashem will help him. But if tameya, so then Hashem will just give him the opportunity. Whatever a person wants to do, he has the opportunity to do. Tana de Rabbi Shmuel, Aveira metamtemes libish ladam. When a person does an Aveira, not only is it tumah, it also stuffs him up. Stuff the hearts, right? It stuffs him up. Shenamar v'lei sitmu behem. It says v'lei sitamu behem v'nitmasam bam. Al tekri v'nitmasam ela v'nitamtem. Because it should have said it with an aleph. So we darshan v'nitamtem that it gets gestoppt. Tana Rabbanan. Al sitamu lei sitamu behem v'nitamtem bam. Adam metama atzmei ma'at metamen eisen harbor. If a person is metam himself a little bit, he'll have the opportunity to be metam himself a lot. Mulmata. If he's metam himself on the bottom, then metam then metam on top. If he's metam himself in metam then they'll be metam him. I saw from the Hasidim, from the Bergman Chaim, that there's different parts to a body. There's nefesh bahamias, has nefesh aliyah. There's different parts. That's what he means. The different parts of a person. He'll if he takes care of the bottom part, so then his top part will get tummy. And so to the opposite. Tanu Rabbanan v'skadashtem v'yisem kadashim. Adno mekadosh atzmi ma'at mekadosh neis naharbe. If a person is mekadosh himself a little bit, then he's mekadosh a lot. Mulmata mekadosh neis l'mayl. If he's mekadosh himself on the bottom, then mekadosh him on top. Ba'il mazeh mekadosh neis l'mayl. If he's ba'il mazeh mekadosh l'mayl. Harden lach amulam munach.